Hello, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Myself Mukul Raizada, I am serving at National Law University, Delhi. Today I am going to speak upon the module named Rights of the Crime Victim. The prerequisites of this module are a general understanding of victims' position and their rights within criminal justice system, an understanding of the initiatives taken by the United Nations to recognize victims' rights. The objectives of this study is to make the learner aware of the initiatives taken by the United Nations to ensure victims' rights, to present the comprehensive framework of various legislative measures taken by the states to take care of victims' concern, and to study the changes taking place within Indian criminal justice system with more emphasis upon rights of victim. So let us begin. Victims plays a major role in administration of criminal justice by initiating criminal justice process. Their testimony is crucial for ensuring that offenders are brought to book. Despite such important role, it was observed by the United Nations General Assembly that besides the impact that directly comes from the commission of the crime, they further suffer hardship when they try to seek justice from the criminal justice system. Keeping this status of victim in consideration, United Nations Declaration 1985 recognized victims' right. Declaration calls upon member states to effectively address the issue of victimization and take necessary measures to curtail secondary victimization. Member states are taking various measures to recognize victims' right. We will explore status of victims' right in select jurisdictions like United States of America, England, Australia, Canada, European Union and India. United Nations Declaration of Basic Principles of Justice for Victims of Crime and Abuse of Power 1985 has categorized victims' rights into four broad categories, that is access to justice and fair treatment, restitution, compensation and assistance. Study of these categories reflects upon the variety of rights encompassed under these four specific categories. The declaration provides that victims should be treated with compassion and respect for their dignity. This declaration gives victims a right to access the mechanism of justice and to get a prompt redress according to their respective national legislations. Such redress as is provided under the national legislation shall not be denied to victim of crime, and state shall ensure such prompt access to a victim of a crime. It has been provided that victim can obtain redress either through formal or through informal procedure. First, the concerned member state should ensure that such prescribed procedure is expeditious, fair, inexpensive and accessible. To ensure responsiveness of judicial and administrative process, declaration provides that victims should be informed of their role and rights in justice process. They have a right to get notification about the timing and progress of the proceedings and disposition of the case. Victims should be allowed to present their views and concerns if the same are in relation to their personal interest and do not adversely affect the perpetrator of the crime. Victims, their family members and witnesses should be provided protection from intimidation and retaliation from the offender. Victim privacy should be protected throughout the criminal justice process. Member states should use informal mechanism such as mediation, arbitration or customary practices for the resolution of the dispute if the same makes conciliation and redress easy for the victim of crime. Member states should consider restitution as a sentencing option along with other penal sanctions. The term restitution may include all or any of the following, that is, return of the property, payment for the harm suffered, reimbursement of expenses incurred due to the criminal victimization and relocation, the provision of services. Victims, his family members or other dependent in case the victim dies should get compensation from the offender or from the state or from other sources. For the purpose of compensation, national funds should be established. Victims have a right to get all needed assistance in the aftermath of a criminal victimization. Their right to assistance may include all or any of the material, medical, psychological, and social assistance as per the needs of the victim in the case. They also have rights to get information about the availability of such assistance and rights to get easy access to these services. It is for the member states to impart training to its professionals to sensitize them towards the needs of the victim and issue guidelines for ensuring prompt and proper aid to the victim of crime. In United States, as far as federal criminal justice system is concerned, there has been no amendment to the United States Constitution that gives effect to crime victims' right, but the Crime Victims' Right Act CVRA, which was enacted as a part of the Justice for All Act 2004, establishes the rights for victim of crime and provides mechanism for the enforcement of the rights of the crime victim. In USA, each state has its own constitution and statutory laws that prescribes for victims' right in that state. In case of state criminal justice proceedings, nearly two-thirds of the states have amended their constitution to incorporate rights of the crime victim. This further strengthens the enforceability of the crime victims' rights because in case of violation of a constitutional right, courts can order the official or the agency concerned to comply with the Constitution. State constitutional rights can broadly be studied under heads victims' right to fairness, respect, dignity, privacy, freedom from abuse, due process, and a right to reasonable protection. Specific rights include due process protection and privacy. Due process is inclusive of the right to be heard at the particular stage of the criminal justice process. Victim has this right to be present at those stages of criminal justice process where defendant is also entitled to be present. Victims are entitled to get notice of their rights as well as of the criminal proceedings pertaining to their case. Victims have a right to speak at the time of sentencing. Under some state constitution, this right is extended so as to include it not only at the stage of sentencing, but at the pre-trial release or at bail hearing and negotiated plea and even post-conviction release hearing such as parole hearing. Some state constitutions provide victim with the right to confer with the prosecution in the matter of charging or disposition. Under the broad head of right to protection comes the specific right such as the right to be notified of personal release, imprisonment and post-sentence release or escape. Victims also have right to speedy trial and right to attend the trial in many jurisdictions. Right of victims of crime under the Crime Victim Rights Act in USA, Section 3771 provides for crime victims' right. Subsection A provides that the crime victim is entitled for the following rights, that is, right to get reasonable protection from the accused, right to get a reasonable, accurate and timely notice with regard to any proceedings and information relating to offenders. Victim has a right to be present or to attend public court proceedings in the case. Victim has a right to get reasonable opportunity to present his views or concerns. Victim has a right to be reasonably heard at any such public court proceedings that relates with the release, plea, sentencing or any parole proceedings. Victim should be treated with fairness during these proceedings and should be given due respect for their dignity and privacy. In United States, most of the jurisdiction in their state constitution and state statutes provide crime victims with the similar rights. Now we will talk about the position in England. In England, the Domestic Violence Crime and Victim Act 2004 established the code of practice for victim of crime or the Victims Code. This code came into effect in 2006. It was revised in December 2013 to make clear statement of victims' entitlement and agencies, criminal justice agencies' obligations. To comply with European Union directives, new measures were adopted in the code in October 2015. New measures added to the code includes victim was defined in a manner that includes victim of all offences, as earlier victim of minor offences were not entitled for the services. An obligation was imposed upon all relevant public sector bodies to provide support and information to the victim. This code in its chapter 1 to 3 provides victim of crime with some prominent rights like right to information as to the progress of the case, arrest of the offender, charging decisions, bail or sentence to the offender, and about restorative justice schemes. Victim is entitled to have information about the needed help and support with the witness care unit. In case of violent or sexual offense, victims can opt in the VCS victim contact scheme, in which case victim can make a victim personal statement for consideration by the parole board. Victim can also make representation for the condition to be attached in the offender's license. He has the right to get compensation, right to make a victim personal statement, right to be inferred, right to be referred to the victim support service, and right to get a written acknowledgement of reporting a crime. In case of a decision not to prosecute, he has a right to seek a review of the same. He can ask questions to the CPS advocate about the progress of the case. Victim has a right to make complaint and right to receive full response in case of failure on part of agencies in providing information or services he is entitled to. The main problem with these measures is their enforceability. Though the victim code is a statutory code, a person cannot be held liable in civil or in criminal proceedings for his failure to comply with its provisions. It is for the courts to take into consideration such failure into account in other proceedings. In Australia, different provinces have their own mechanism to address the issues of right of victims of crime. Legislation of Queensland and Australian capital territories are being discussed in this module. In the province of Queensland, Victim of Crime Assistance Act 2009 governs the principle in relation to the rights of the victim of crime. It provides for various rights, including rights to fair and dignified treatment, right to privacy of the victim, right to get information about investigation, prosecution and available services, and information as to the convicted offender, right to get advice on the role of victim as witness, right to minimum contact between victim and the accused, right to give victim impact statement during sentencing, and in case there is any issue in relation to these rights to victim. Victim have a right to make complaint. Part 2 of the Act provides about implementation of the principles, guidelines and processes to ensure compliance with principles, conduct consistent with principles, victim's right to make complaint, and how this complaint is to be dealt with. In Australian Capital Territory, Victim of Crime Act 1994 governs the principle in relation to the treatment of the victims of crime. This principle provides for, with due care to victim's personal situation, rights and duties, victim shall be dealt with in a sympathetic, constructive and reassuring way. He has a right to protection from unnecessary contact with the offender or with the defense witness. Victim should be informed at reasonable intervals about the progress at every stage of the criminal process, including investigation about the charges or modification in it, regarding decision not to proceed with the charge, and explanation as to the procedural outcome in the case and implication of the same, and inform about the release of the offender. Concept of victims right in Canada developed in 3 phases. Under the first phase, that is 1988 to 2003, Canadian Statement of Basic Principle of Justice for Victim of Crime was endorsed by all federal, provincial and territorial ministers responsible for criminal justice. Second phase, that is 2003 to 2015, brought the renewed version of the statement. The statement provided a comprehensive overview of the victim's treatment within the criminal justice system, but it falls short of ensuring any right since it only provided with some aspirational goals. This statement emphasized only upon the treatment that victims of crimes are entitled to during the process of criminal justice. Despite these two initiatives, victims had few enforceable rights that could be traced to the federal legislations of Criminal Code and in the Correction and Conditional Release Act. As a result of these shortcomings of two statements, Canadian Victims' Bill of Rights came into force in July 23, 2015. This act recognized victims' right in criminal justice process. These rights included right to information about investigation and proceedings, information about offender or accused, protection and security, protection from intimidation and retaliation, privacy, identity protection, testimonial aids, consideration of victim views, victim impact statements, restitution order, and enforcement. European Union established crime victims' need of respectful treatment and recognition, protection from intimidation and retaliation, support, access to justice, compensation and restitution as basic rights for crime victims through Council Framework Decision on the Standing of the Victims in Criminal Proceedings in 2001. The European Union has asked its member states to adopt these in their legislations accordingly. European Union Directive 29 of 2012 are an improvement on earlier Council Framework Decision of 2001. These directives provided more concrete rights for victims by making them obligatory upon member states. The directive specified that member states must ensure access to victim support and specialist support service for victims, including their family as per their need, without there being any precondition of having reported the crime. Family members of the deceased victim were widely defined as victims, including non-married intimate partners. States are required to make it feasible for the victims to receive information about their case and decisions regarding all the important decisions in accessible and understandable manner. All victims should be individually assessed to decide their vulnerability for secondary or repeat victimization and intimidation during criminal proceedings. Some states should ensure that victims have access to the state and competent restorative justice services. Member states are under obligation for quality training of professionals. In India, there is no victim-specific legislation, though there are laws that provide protection to a specific or vulnerable group of victims, such as Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. But one can find a range of measures to ensure victims' rights under the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, Indian Penal Code 1860, and Indian Evidence Act 1872 as amended time to time. Many new rights for the women victims have been recognized by the Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013, and necessary changes have been made in Indian Penal Code as well. For rights to access the justice mechanism, registration of FIR is mandatory under Section 154 of the Criminal Procedure Code. If information discloses commission of a cognizable offense, police officer cannot avoid registration of FIR. In Lalita Kumari versus Government of UP 2014, Supreme Court reiterated that the Section 166A of the Indian Penal Code takes away the discretion of the police officer to hold preliminary inquiry before registration of FIR. Court has held that registration of FIR is imperative in all cognizable offences, including crime against women. Section 154, subsection 3 provides that substance of such information can be sent to the superintendent of the police, who shall investigate himself or may direct investigation by subordinate police officer. To address the hardship faced by women victims while lodging the FIR for the sexual offences, Section 154 proviso added by Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013 provides that information about sexual offences provided by the women victim shall be recorded by the women police officer. A victim can also approach the magistrate directly with a complaint regarding cognizable offence, and magistrate under section 156 subsection 3 can order for the investigation by the police. For rights to speedy justice and proceedings, section 173 subsection 1 of CRPC provides for speedy investigation without any unnecessary delay in completion of investigation. Section 173 subsection 1A provides investigation in case of rape of a child to be completed within 3 months of information. Section 309 subsection 1 mandates for continuous proceedings on day-to-day basis till all witness presents are examined and recording of reasons for adjournment. Proviso of section 309 subsection 1 mandates for completion of proceedings within 2 months of filing of the charge sheet for certain sexual offences. For right to representation, section 24 subsection 8 proviso provides that the court may permit victim to engage an advocate of his choice, and such advocate has to assist the prosecution. Unless there is any cogent reason which must be recorded by the court, victim should be allowed to engage an advocate of his choice. The Karnataka High Court in K.V. Shiva Reddy versus State 2005 held that a special public prosecutor could be appointed under subsection 8 of section 24 at the request of the complainant or the victim. In Himanshu versus State 2008, Supreme Court, considering fact of the case, permitted the complainant to suggest 2 names for the appointment of the public prosecutor. Section 301 subsection 2 provides pleader appointed by private party may, with the permission of the court, submit written argument after the evidence is closed in the case. For the right to appeal, proviso to section 372 Criminal Procedure Code provides that where an accused has been acquitted by the court, or court has convicted him only for a lesser offence, or where inadequate compensation has been imposed, a victim has a substantive right to appeal against any such order. The provisions for obtaining leave for appeal before filing of the substantive appeal has been dispensed with after Amendment Act 2008. It was held in Bhuvanben Dinesh Bhai Makwana versus State of Gujarat 2013 that in case there are more than one victims, each of such victims will have separate right to appeal. It was observed by the Bombay High Court in the case of Wala Sahab Rangnath Khade versus State of Maharashtra 2012 that to grant the court the right to give leave would be to denude the only right of the victim granted to him or her in Indian criminal procedure jurisprudence. Section 378 subsection 4 provides that in case of acquittal in a complaint case, complainant may appeal to High Court, but with special leave of the High Court to appeal. To provide right to fair and dignified treatment, various provisions in Criminal Procedure Code ensure dignified treatment to rape victim, like section 157 subsection 1 proviso provides that statement of rape victims to be recorded at her residence or place of her choice and in the presence of her near relatives by the women police officer. Section 26 clause A proviso provides in certain cases offence to be tried by a woman judge. Section 160 subsection 1 proviso provides that male under age of 15 years or above 65 years or a woman or mentally or physically disabled witness may be questioned by the investigating officer only at the place of their residence. Section 164 subsection 5A clause A requires judicial magistrate to record the statement of victim who is temporarily or permanently mentally or physically disabled by extending facilities of an interpreter or special educator and videograph such statement. Similar provision is in section 119 of Evidence Act while recording evidence. To protect the victim from the embarrassing and humiliating process of deposition and testifying, newly inserted section 53A of Indian Evidence Act 1872 provides that evidence of character of previous sexual experience should not be considered as relevant so as to construe her consent or quality of consent in certain cases. As per Section 114A of Evidence Act, in case of an offense of rape, it shall be presumed that it was committed without the consent of the victim. Right to information and notification is made available right from the stage of lodging FIR. Victim's right to information has been recognized under Section 154, subsection 2 of CRPC. Informant, generally the victim, to get a copy of the information lodged. Section 157, subsection 1, proviso B, case is not going to be investigated, is to be given information by the police officer. Section 173(2) sub part 2, police officer is to communicate action taken by him. Section 377 of the Section 378, complainant has a right to get the copy of the ground of appeal. Supreme Court held in Bhagwant Singh versus Commissioner of Police 1985 that the magistrate must give notice to the informant and an opportunity to be heard at the time of consideration of the report and before accepting final report in a case. In Dina Chetan Shah versus Government of USSR 2011, Mumbai Court held when an order is passed by the magistrate under Section 169 discharging certain accused, the complainant should be given an opportunity of being heard before such order is passed. For the rights of protection from intimidation, newly added Section 195A of the CRPC provides that any intimidation or threatened person may file a complaint under Section 195A of the Indian Penal Code. Proviso of Section 273 provides that during recording of statement of a rape victim who is below 18 years of age, courts should ensure that she is not confronted by the accused during her deposition. Section 327, subsection 2 and proviso provides for in-camera inquiry and trial proceedings conducted by a women judge or magistrate, but only in case of rape or certain other offences. For right to privacy, Section 327, subsection 3 of CRPC and its proviso provides that in camera proceedings, no matter without permission of the court shall be printed or published, and confidentiality of name and address of the parties shall be maintained. Section 228A of IPC 1860 provides for punishment to anyone who permits or publish the identity of the sexual offense victim, prints or publish any proceedings. For right to receive expenses, Section 312 provides for payment of reasonable expenses of any complaint or witness who is required to attend any inquiry, trial, proceedings before the court. Right to compensation is well recognized in India. In case of plea bargaining, victim shall be awarded compensation as per the mutually satisfactory disposition submitted before the court under Section 265D. Section 357 discusses the rule regarding compensation. Compensation can be ordered indirectly from the fine imposed or directly by an order to pay compensation. Victim compensation scheme has been dealt with under Section 357A of CRPC. It imposes an obligation upon the state to formulate a comprehensive victim compensation scheme. This section empowers trial court to make recommendation for compensation in a suitable case, and state or district legal service authorities, after making inquiry, shall award compensation as per the scheme. For victim assistance, Section 166B of Indian Penal Code was added with a view to provide medical immediate help to the sexual offences victim, and for this purpose, the provision provides for punishment to in charge of a hospital if he fails to provide immediate first aid or medical treatment free of cost to the victim of sexual offences. As per the provision of Section 357C of the Code of Criminal Procedure, victim of offences covered under Section 326A, 376A to E of the IPC are entitled to get free of cost first aid or medical treatment in any hospital. The victim may get relief under Section 357A subpart C 6 of CRPC, where the state or the district legal service authority may order for immediate first aid facility or medical benefit to be made available free of cost. So, we can summarize this module by saying that The module has discussed victims' right as emphasized by the United Nations Declaration of Basic Principle of Justice for Victims of Crime 1985. Study of this module has shown that in compliance of United Nations Declaration, the significant changes are taking place in the field of victims' right. All over the world, these rights are being recognized and are being given place in the member states by the member state into their respective legislations. US, European Union, England, Australia, Canada and India all have taken suitable measures to incorporate these victims' rights into their domestic legislations. Thank you. I hope this lecture was of some use for you all.